Yeah, welcome back, girl. Good to see you. Hope everybody's doing well today. And we're continuing on in our 50th episode of, I wouldn't call it mediocrity, sub-mediocrity.
Towing the line between good and bad.
Really just taking a cosmic sky dump all over the world here. So for this one...
That's what you want to go with?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a callback to like our 5th episode.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Back when Garrett was around.
So we are starting a new, series, compendulum of...
It's going to be a returning
consortium.
thing.
Yeah.
Let's make up some words.
Yeah, I'm just making
some bigly words.
We're calling this... Okay, we have several names for this, and we're actually going to hold a naming contest. This is a way to get you guys
that's the way to do this.
Involved. We want to call this segment one of the following names. Trump truck dump of the week.
There it is.
Okay, Trump truck dump of the week. Trumpster fire is another one. What was the one that you said? Trumpocalypse. And Chris, what was yours?
Trumpelstiltskin.
Oh yeah. Trumpelstiltskin. So I'm not sure which of those four is the funniest, but if you have an idea, would you either text me, Mom, or let us know on Twitter, Luke, or find us through Gmail or YouTube if you're watching this there.
Or tell us at the store.
Or let us know, Matt, whatever you think is going to be good.
That's our 3 viewers.
And so... we're just gonna call this the Trump segment this week. I'm gonna go with Trumpster fire because it's easier for me to say at this point. So he's been in. By the time you're seeing this video, he's been in office for only a week right now, and on the day after he was inaugurated, 3 million women marched and all rejected him at the same time. That's the single biggest diss on any male in history, I'm sure. I read that on a meme somewhere. I thought that was funny. So we're just going to
didn't quite translate to
I guess, yeah. So we're just going to go through some of the executive orders and just kind of talk about them for a few minutes and just the ridiculousness that is some of these things.
Some of it. I mean, there's a lot here to analyze, I think, and to talk about and reflect on.
Yeah, so because we are a border state and we are in a border county, because we're tight like that.
And we hang out at Borders.
And we do, because you're a Borders barista lady. And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. $18 billion, right, for the wall. Their border executive order number 4. So this was the 4th thing that he did.
So we're not going to start and go in order?
Oh, do you want to start and go 1 to whatever?
I think it makes sense, right?
I didn't plan to get through all 28 today.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it's been 28 already.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not executive orders. Some of them are memorandums and other things.
All right. Just do the important ones.
So, I mean, we can do 1.
Nah, that's all right. Executive order 2-ply toilet paper.
Need some pizza over here.
Yeah. Get rid of the cheap stuff.
For everybody. So, yeah, this is the idea of kind of protecting our southern states, right, from illegal immigrants and the like. So this was executive order number 4, entitled Border Security and Immigration Enforcement Improvements, including advancing the construction of a large physical barrier on the southern border. Just for those of people who may not know, we actually have a wall already. Like, we have miles of fencing.
It's not there. Complete. It doesn't go from. Yeah, it doesn't go from the one side. It doesn't go from Pacific to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah,
but we do have portions, especially of Texas, that have walls, even 18-foot walls.
Yeah, so I'm interested.
That's why I sell 20-foot ladders.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to get this off the bat right away. Okay. I was listening to a podcast that talked about
This American Life.
Yes. I was listening to This American. Did you listen to this?
Yes,
one?
I did.
Okay, so this is good. So on This American Life, fantastic podcast. Don't check them out without subscribing to ours first. They talk about this fantastic
before you know what quality sounds like.
Yeah. They talked about this excellent episode, or on this excellent episode with the Border Patrol agent worker.
Yeah, they basically went to people representing various different viewpoints on politics to see how they're feeling about Trump in his first week and his inauguration.
Yeah.
And some of these people were Border Patrol people. And this was actually somebody who voted for Trump. He was for Trump for the most part. But he was not sold on the wall, even being Border Patrol, because he said where they have wall, they just find stacks and stacks of ladders.
They said that the ladder buildup rate was so high there behind one of their offices, Chris, that the people told them to actually stop getting the ladders. They just said just leave them there. So
why doesn't
basically,
the government sell those and make some money back?
I know.
Push it down, right? Sell it to Home Depot. I don't know, for some type of cost spec. I don't know. So, is this a more of a is this supposed to be more representative of like kind of this imagery than anything else in your mind? Is this supposed to be more of a point being made than an actual intended
thing? It was a
thing?
major talking point of his campaign.
No, but I mean,
I'm seriously surprised that he is moving forward with this so quickly. I mean, here's the thing you can't say about Trump is that he's not trying to go through with his campaign ideals.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. You may not like his campaign ideals.
He's trying to set the world on fire.
Yeah,
dude.
but all the things he said he's doing, he's on track for doing them, whether they're good ideas or not.
Yeah,
That's
with
totally
all within the
different
first
discussion.
week too.
Yeah.
There. And to be fair, this actually goes a little bit deeper into the. It's not just about building a wall. One of the things that they're trying to do, in addition to allocating the somewhere between $8 and $25 billion that this is going to cost, which is so insanely expensive. This is kind of opening new detention centers along the coast. It's particularly in places like in Texas, right? That'll make it easier to imprison these people.
Well, they didn't do that anyway
send
from
them
a
back.
humanitarian standpoint. Because remember when they had the big, there was like a surge, was it a year or two ago? And they just did not have space for people that they'd collected out of the desert.
Yeah, and so these, but he is specifically ending kind of this Bush and Obama administration catch and release policy, right? Because our court system is so backed up right now that typically it can take people up to 6 years once they get their hearing date, and so they release them. And like that family that was coming through, they were on their way to Atlanta, again referencing This American Life, and they were greeted by Border Patrol. They told Border Patrol they were seeking asylum. They were held for 48 to 72 hours, given a court date of when they were supposed to appear, and that happened to be about 6 years or whatever after that date that they gave it to them, and they just let them go on their way to Atlanta. So they said most of the people don't show up after that, and they
to clarify what you're saying there is that This American Life covered it very well in that same episode we discussed, where basically what the Border Patrol person was saying is that people just come, they purposely get caught by the Border Patrol, they ask for asylum, which immediately puts them into a system in which they'll be incarcerated, that's probably the wrong word, but they'll be held for
Detained.
a couple of weeks, and then they're given a court date to discuss whether they can stay in the country. But during that time, they are free. And what they do is once they get out of being detained, some might stay for the court date, but most of them just try to sort of fold into the country and kind of get lost in the crowd of our nation. And that's how illegal immigration works. It's not really people like trying to get across the border without being caught. It's actually quite the contrary. They're purposely caught, and they use the system to their advantage.
Yeah. And so this is interesting. So Chris, you have any thoughts on this, or you want to keep moving?
I do, but we'll keep moving because we're already 9 minutes in.
Okay, so then he did Presidential Memorandum number 6, which was to promote the use of domestic materials in the upgrade or construction of domestic pipelines. And this is kind of, I'm talking about the symptomatically of this idea of what he's talking about more at large, right? On Wednesday of last week, he had met with a bunch of like the top brands in America, right? Johnson & Johnson, Ford, all these companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies there, and said basically, we're going to make it super easy for you to do business here, right? We want you to keep your factories in Ohio. We want you to keep your factories in Pennsylvania. We want you to keep your factories in
He's threatening
states.
like an upwards of a 30% tariff.
Yes. And so how do you feel about this idea on its face?
I'm happy with keeping jobs in America.
And so I don't think this is a bad thing per se. We're gonna crap on Trump a lot in there, and I think rightfully so. I mean, I think he deserves the massive storm of doo-doo that's coming his way. I can't believe I just said that on a podcast.
I do hope that I am okay with him being strong and trying to keep jobs in America and making sure that if people are going to benefit from the American economy, that they also honor the American economy as well, both by paying taxes and by providing opportunity here. I do hope, though, that he doesn't just forget the global economy.
Right.
Because when you suddenly just forget the global economy and you try to function without it, well, honestly, it's going to abandon us.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, no kidding. So, that's... this is a good thing cautiously. there at best. We're cautiously optimistic about that one specific point there. You got any you want to bring up?
Well, I do have cautions, but honestly, I always wanted to see a president who was strong on keeping industry here in this nation. I don't think STEM is very important. That's the sciences, technologies, and various other things that relate to. That's our future for the most part, but we don't need to.
Not everyone can be a scientist,
right? We don't need to.
Or should
it doesn't.
We all be?
That doesn't have to be our only option. Even
Yeah.
if it turns out to be one of the better options, it doesn't have to be our only option. And I think it is good to keep industry here. It is good if companies want to make our money, they can also hire our people, and maybe not exclusively, but enough that it honors our economy. That'd be great.
Yeah. Advancing the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. This was like a big crap story, man. People were not happy about this at all there. So I've read a lot of stuff that talks about the advancing of the DAP or whatever there. That and so, Chris, maybe you can kind of help me on this. But the idea was that this land was sold privately, right? That actually wasn't on any...
I actually heard that this land is my land.
Oh, well played. That was good.
Okay.
That was actually really good. So this was all sold. All private land was sold. This wasn't holy ground from the Sioux tribe. They just kind of realized they had been bamboozled or whatever it was, and people were super kind of pissed about it there. And so what's the...
I don't know. I've heard so much conflicting information about this thing. I don't even want to comment on it.
And it's been so hard for me.
All I know is that for a lot of people, this has just become really more symbolic of moving away from fossil fuels.
Yeah. And so, okay. And so this is what's interesting to me because I don't disagree with that. I want to be able to move to more renewable forms of energy. I think solar energy is a good idea if we can figure out how to use it. Obviously, I would want to use the sun because, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Because here it comes.
And
it's a form of energy that...
It's all right. We're full of these things today.
It's a form of energy that keeps coming our way, and it's not that it's something we're going to deplete.
Yeah, until it depletes itself in 4 billion years and we all die.
So we better come up with a plan.
Yeah, so I get that, right? But everything...
Build a wall.
Everything that I've read so far, it talks about how we're like 50 to 100 years away from any actual viable alternative there without abandoning fossil fuels completely. And so the thing that I don't like about this, though, that I've read is that the company that's part of the pipeline development, Trump has a minority share in that company there. And then there's another company that's sponsoring that company for some other part, and he's got a share in that company as well. So that it feels weird to me that Jimmy Carter had to get rid of his peanut farm and before he could run for president or whatever it was, and Trump doesn't have to dissolve his assets. That's like, it feels conflicting to me that a public servant there, even though he's the highest public servant in the land, whatever it is, shouldn't have kind of access to that.
Now, I agree with that sentiment, but let's also be fair then in our criticism. He is not the first president, right? I mean, you mentioned Jimmy Carter, but between Jimmy Carter and Trump, every president has had financial benefits that were obviously promoted via his presidency. Clinton foundations. I mean, those. I know they're charitable.
Yeah, that was not a charity. We've all debunked that. That's garbage.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. According to their formation, they're charitable, but they do collect and keep money.
Yeah, for sure.
And they are
$250,000 a speech. Get out of here.
Yeah,
I've heard you talk. You're not that interesting.
Right, but both Bushes had a lot of oil.
Yeah, for sure.
Investment
for sure. And so but to me, it's again just another, I guess, rung in this ladder of corruption that I wish we would be able to get out of the political arena, though it's probably not actually possible.
It's a tricky thing whereas some people look at this and they say, oh, I see corruption. He's trying to use the presidency to further his own benefits.
Which is not true.
Others see it and make the argument, and I want to represent their voice just for a moment. They say, well, is that not shrewd? Don't we want a smart
That's capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so the repealing of, this was Executive Order number 1, okay? Minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act pending repeal. So he's basically just rolling back, right, a lot of Obamacare. And
basically what that did was it got rid of the penalty if you don't sign up.
And
that's nice.
I don't want to have to be forced to get healthcare if I don't.
I know people who will benefit from not having to be charged.
And that's not a bad thing. But here is where I guess my concern. I'm of the persuasion that I do want some type of safety net.
An alternative
there. Yeah, I want something. I like the idea of having
Don't shoot it down and then try to figure out the alternative. Come up with the alternative
first before you destroy it and dismantle it. And there hasn't been anything nothing has been presented by,
at least not clearly,
other than anybody by Rand Paul.
We've been repeatedly told, yes, there is an alternative.
Like you got to pass it to see what's in it.
Yes. Right. Oh my gosh. And I know, dude. And that's the crazy thing to me that we did that the first time.
Yeah,
and
let's do it again. It worked so well.
And now we're doing it the other way. It's just like we don't have anything yet, but screw it because it has Obama's name.
We've got to unpass it to see it.
And this is the part that frustrates me about that partisanship there. It's super, super annoying at this point. And so I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know. I would take Rand Paul's strategy. I liked that. I haven't read everything in it, but his what Chris was telling us today didn't sound terrible.
What's the strategy, Chris, in a nutshell?
He unveiled a new plan, and
doesn't he basically do that every year?
Yeah, nobody listens to him. And the sad thing is, a lot of times you read them and you're like, well, this kind of makes sense. But it does things like no cap on health savings accounts, opening up insurance companies to sell insurance across state lines, so you'd have more competition in the marketplace. And then the other thing I saw that I liked was allowing individuals to join insurance pools or to pool together so that they could get a group rate.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Sort of like a business, but without a business.
Yeah, exactly. So, if a bunch of people who own their own businesses can band together and then get a discount as if they were one large business.
Now, in theory, that sounds awesome. In practice, it's like John isn't paying his part again.
No, it's just it's like doing a group buy.
Yeah, okay.
If we get this many people in, we get this rate. So, and those seem like pretty simple, like obvious things to me that
right.
I don't see why anyone would object to those.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like anything anybody has to object against there. So those were just some of the things that you guys have anything you want to bring up or anything you want to talk about? Those were just the few that kind of came to my mind.
And then the big one.
And which one's that?
It's going to be a travel ban.
Oh yeah, the travel ban for the Muslim. There.
Well, it's not for Muslim. I mean,
these Muslim countries, right?
So Chris and I were talking about this. When he first spoke about it back during the campaign, he very clearly cited Muslim, right? Islamic people, but now the way it's being actually implemented, it's more based on countries. Of course, it's countries with high populations of Muslim people in them, so you can still see sort of the tea leaves there. But yeah, just to be clear, it's based on countries themselves, not on belief.
Yeah, and so and then giving the priority to Christian.
Well, to minority religious groups, specifically Christian.
Yeah, so minority religious groups, specifically Christians instead of Muslims there. That bothers me in the sense that I don't know. I think that you can kind of say that Obama gave that the other way for Muslims during his tenure. Either side, that one kind of nips at me a little bit. It kind of bothers me there that I don't know. It just feels a little bit weird. What do you think? Do you think this is a good idea to travel ban? Okay, so one thing that's important to recognize is that this is not the first time this has happened. President Bush did this for, I think, somewhere between 4 and 7 months after 9/11.
Yeah.
And so Obama did it in 2011.
And so, yeah, so this is the third time.
And Carter did it with Iran.
Yeah, okay, so we have at least 3 precedents before getting to Trump. The incendiary rhetoric that Trump has used certainly, no doubt, makes it worse. And because of... But here's my confusion. All of the countries that we've banned were all countries that we've been at war with.
Bombing?
Yeah, or have been bombing for the last set of years.
That's also another thing is that, Chris, you brought up,
like we made them refugees.
Yeah, well, on the one hand, we say, oh, it's so bad that we banned them from traveling here. But what we've been doing in recent years past, is bombing them. Yeah. What's worse, banning or bombing?
And so I don't think, and that's the thing, I don't think we should ban them because of the fact that we bombed them. They're like, we're having our cake and eating it too. I mean, really, in this one, in most diabolical of ways. Like, sorry, we totally blew up the F out of your country, Yemen. There, but you guys can't come here. There, like Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the world. They don't even have an air defense.
Well, that's why we kick them, because they're down.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even kick them. We help Saudi kick them.
And right,
we gave Saudi shoes, and then Saudi kicked them.
Yeah, we gave them steel-toed boots. $1.3 billion in smart bombs we approved for Saudi Arabia.
They check Facebook before they
and so
strike.
So I'm just. it's just so frustrating because the hypocrisy continues to know no bounds. In
So
our
if you weren't mad
governmental
then, I have a hard time taking you seriously now.
system. Yeah, very true. Very
Yeah.
like all of a sudden your outrage is sparked simply because it's through the conduit of Trump, which
yeah.
is not a bad thing, by the way. Like if that's the
It's
But
okay to keep your president in check,
Yeah.
but we're getting a little blind right now and not thinking through these things.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you weren't mad when Obama was bombing them, and you're mad that Trump's banned them, then when the next president comes in, if they're a Democrat, you won't get mad when they do something.
Yeah, because
Right.
it represents our lack of ability to look at the greater narrative, right? And so,
Or to have consistent principles.
yeah, no kidding. So if you're watching this and you're on one of the sides, get off the partisan potty and
be
let's
mad all the
work,
time.
Yeah, let's all work together to actually do something productive.
Be an extremist moderate.
And
Or don't. I'm not a cop.
I don't care, but seriously, I really care a lot. So those are some of just if you want it, you can go to vice.com or really any other set
We're
of
going to have a
websites and read
lot
them.
of opportunities to discuss this.
Yeah, and let us know what you think of the name, what you want us to call this sadly satirical segment that we're doing. You can find us on all forms of the social medias. I'm at Josh_Carmen. Jamothy is at JamesYuile. Garrett is at TStudentLife. Chris is at Marion Ranch. Faith and Whatever is at Faith the letter N whatever. Also, find us on Snapchat and the Instagreasy. We would love to connect with you there. If you like the video, like and share, subscribe, and we'll hopefully talk to you very soon. Thanks for stopping by.